Luba has been a resident of Berks County for 10 years. She works as a business analyst for Penn State Health. Luba lives in Wyomissing with her husband and 3 young children. She is a member of the board of the Jewish Federation of Reading Berks.
Growing up in the former Soviet Union, I have not been exposed to Judaism as a religion, since practicing religion of any faith was strictly forbidden. But I have always known that I am Jewish. However, being a Jew in former Soviet Union meant that there was a quota on the number of Jews allowed to hold prestigious jobs, being admitted to universities, or allowed to graduate with honors. This is the definition of government-sponsored anti-Semitism. Being a Jew meant most of your family members had 2 sets of names, especially older family members. Jewish names given at birth and Russian-sounding names they adopted because their given names sounded too Jewish. People changed their names for different reasons, sometimes by choice, and sometimes they were pressured by work or by others. My father legally changed his name to a less Jewish-sounding name long before my sister and I were born, because he didn't want his future kids to be teased. However, I have never thought of being Jewish as a negative. I have always thought of it as something special and always maintained a strong sense of Jewish identity. Jewish holidays were not properly observed as my parents and grandparents did not have formal training in Jewish religion or customs. However, I knew the names of all major holidays and the food were eaten. Honey cakes, gefilte fish, and even matzah. Growing up, matzah was made and distributed only by underground bakeries, since someone could potentially get arrested for distributing it. There were several synagogues in major cities, and they were under constant surveillance. My family was allowed to leave USSR when I was a teenager. We moved to a predominantly Jewish neighborhood in northeast Philadelphia. All of a sudden, being Jewish took a totally different dimension. Jewish holidays were widely observed, and I had no school on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I learned more about customs and traditions. I began fasting on Yom Kippur, keeping Passover, and occasionally attended high holiday services. Having gone on a Birthright Israel trip, I discovered the Jewish state and fell in love with Israel. It was a wonderful educational program that strengthened my Jewish identity. After getting married, I moved to Berks County, to a much smaller Jewish community. I knew that I had to do more at home to keep my traditions alive and to raise my kids Jewish. I started lighting candles on Shabbat and attended more services. When my kids were old enough, my husband and I enrolled them in Hebrew school. After some time in Berks County, I joined the board of the Jewish Federation, and I learned how much our federation actually does to keep the Jewish community alive in Berks County, and how fortunate we are as a community to have staff and volunteers that work hard to create wonderful programming for kids and adults, and they constantly try to do more. My kids are growing up knowing exactly who they are, and are very proud of their Jewishness.
The Jewish Federation of Reading hopes you enjoyed this story and getting to know a fellow Jew living in Berks County. Federation is the central organization for issues affecting all Jews in Berks County. It represents us all, working closely in cooperation with local synagogues and community partners. Your gift to Federation supports our Jewish community here in Berks County, in Israel, and around the world. You provide cultural programs through the JCC. You assist Berks County Jews in need through Jewish Family Service. You combat the growing problem of anti-Semitism. You fund Jewish education for the next generation. To continue these services, we ask you to participate in a very special community campaign. During 2020, generous community members will match dollar-for-dollar campaign increases from both new donors and longtime contributors. Every new or additional campaign dollar donated in 2020 becomes 2. If you're not yet a contributor, please consider starting. If you're already a contributor, please consider increasing your gift. Your campaign contribution to Federation keeps our story of Jewish life going here in Berks County.